So Brad and I
Yeah.
have put together our 5 favorite Giants teams of all time. And let's start with number 5,
Okay.
and I will let you begin. I want to hear, what is your 5th favorite Giants team of all time?
All right. I had already made my list last week. You sent me yours this week.
Yeah.
I did not send you mine because mine's funny because when you said to do this, I thought, you know what? My top 5 probably changes a little bit as
Mhm.
each year goes by, right?
Mhm.
As we get older, we kind of think about the past teams a little bit differently. My number 1 is probably going to shock you, so we'll
Okay.
get there.
I'm excited.
Yeah. My number 5 is the 2002 San Francisco Giants. I had a blast watching that team that summer. The World Series, even though we lost, has a special place in my heart because it was my wife and I. It was our 1-year anniversary. We went down to Disneyland. I have pictures of, and this is when Disney owned the Anaheim Angels.
Mhm.
And so I have pictures of Disney California Adventure, which had just opened not too long before this, with the rally monkey hanging from the Golden Gate Bridge, the Giants and Angels banners hanging. The California World Series is how they pitched it. Everything was crazy down there. We were actually in Disneyland for games 6 and 7.
Woo.
It was nuts. Went back to the room for game 6 because I thought I'm going to celebrate here and then we're going to go back in and hit some rides. We're going to win the World Series. Going to go back in and hit some rides. It didn't pan out. We still went back and hit some rides. I forgot about it, got over it pretty quick because I was in Disneyland. But that 2002 San Francisco Giants, I mean, you look at that lineup with Kent and Aurelia, David Bell, Bonds, the
Smashers.
great Tsuyoshi Shinjo is playing center field for the Giants. He had a 1.9 WAR that year.
There you go.
238 with 9 bombs. Stole us 5 bases. Remember, we thought Shinjo was going to come over and steal 40 bases. He stole 5.
Just like Jung Hoo. We thought the same thing of Jung Hoo.
Who was our stolen base leader that year? Do you know?
Let me think about this.
Quick little trivia for you.
It was a little bit of a larger Barry Bonds at that point.
I don't think you're going to get it. I don't think you're going to get it.
Okay.
Kenny Lofton was on the team, but it was not him.
It wasn't him, huh?
Kenny Lofton played 46 games for them that year. It was not him.
Oh man, Dave Roberts? No, he wasn't on that team until 5 years later.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Reggie Sanders.
Nice.
Right fielder Reggie Sanders. 250 batting average, 18 stolen bases, 23 bombs, almost a 2020 guy.
There you go.
Yeah, that was good.
They would have been on my next 5 for sure.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why they didn't make my 5 is because the heartbreak was just tremendous. Like,
that
it
break
was
your heart. Yeah.
I was so upset. Like, it's pretty rare. Like, there are some moments like 2016 Warriors, I was really upset in a sense because it just felt a little bit unfair. Like, the NBA can feel unfair at sometimes where you're like, are they kind of
the reffing?
Are they playing with the thing here a little bit? And that series, the thing that bothered it was because of decisions, right? Choices that the Giants and Dusty Baker made that were the wrong decisions to make in those moments as you play out the game. Taking out Russ Ortiz, giving Russ Ortiz that ball, that whole thing, turning to was it Levon in game 7? Who pitched game 7?
I believe it was. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was because Russ game 6, Levon game 7.
And wasn't Schmidt was like, no, I can't go. Wasn't that one of the things?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of messy.
Yeah. It's just like,
it was a messy ending to a fun year.
And those guys were on fumes. Like Rob Nen, they turned off the radar gun because he was not throwing hard enough as he used to. So they turned off the radar gun. But yeah, like that was That was a rough. I just remember, like, I remember the heartache more than I remember the great season, just because that's how it is sometimes. But yeah, they would have been on my back end 5. Um, if we were to do a top 10. Okay, my number 5 was 2012. So I included all 3 World Series teams on my 5. I will tell you, the some of the other teams that were not quite there in my top 5. 1986, which would have been like my year of Giants baseball, where I was like, wait, they can be good. I never thought that that was part of I just thought we were
Yeah.
always going to be bad. Like, no way
Yeah.
they can be good. And they had all those young guys. 2021. That was the last time that you and I were like, what is this season? Like, this seems
Weirdest season ever.
a little surreal as we're talking about it on this podcast. And then we had that funky 3-game series against the Dodgers, even though they had the 2 best records in all of baseball and they had to play against each other. Like, just silly stuff like that where you're like,
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Some of those other teams that I would say, probably here's a weird one. 1994, only because in that strike season, the Giants were catching fire there at the end, and I was like, "Oh, man, they just have to make the wild card. Like, that's all they need." And, Darryl Strawberry's on the team. You're like, "What's going
Yeah.
on here?" And then I would say also, 1997, they won the
It's a fun
division,
year. Yeah.
and then maybe one of those, like, other 2003 or 2004 teams, but, 2001 too because of Bonds just going nuts, but I didn't really feel too strongly in their chances in those other leagues, but yeah, those would have been a little bit outside of my top 5. Okay, so 2012. Why 2012 is lower than 14 and 10 is because it was kind of the opposite of what we had been through as Giants fans. They win the title in 2010, and you're like, "Oh, man, they got all this young pitching. Well, are we gonna be doing this again?" And then 2012 comes, and you're like, "I think we're gonna be doing it again. Like, this team is really, really good." And, they win the division. I think they win 95 games, something like that. Matt Cain has a tremendous year. And then the playoffs happen, and they're kind of having to come back in all these series. So it was a little bit of like I wanted that one world beater championship where they're just like the best team in baseball and it's like unquestioned. Like they're just gonna kill everybody because they're just defending their even series title. But they did have to change it up a little bit and be the team that is supposed to win and was a little disappointing and then would have to come back and win those series in the playoffs, culminating, though, in an ultimate wipeout of the Tigers in the World Series, who were favored to beat them. So that was fulfilling in that way, but it was like some of those playoff series where you're like, they really have to get to a game 5 with the Reds? Like, are they really down 3-1 to the Cardinals? Like, what is going on here? So it's just because expectations were higher in 2012 and they had to kind of play the comeback team. So that's why that's the least favorite of my 3 World Series winners there.
I actually have them number 4. So that's my next
there you
one.
go. There you
2012. Go. Rally Enchilada. Rally Zito.
Rally.
I mean,
those were fun. They were fun.
Yeah.
For sure.
They were an absolute blast. I remember watching those games thinking, especially the Cardinals series with Zito and the game that he pitched and the bunt that he had. I mean, just everything was beautiful. Everything was fantastic. I mean, it was just such heartwarming memories. And then we had to deal with Melky Cabrera halfway through the season as well. He ends up being second in the team in WAR, having only played 113 games, gets pinched for steroids. He's gone. They just
wasn't he the MVP of the All-Star game or something?
He was the MVP of the All-Star game, and then I think like 2 weeks later he's pinched for roids. And then they just had to rally and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So 2012, I just special place in my heart. And believe it or not, this is a little bit of a spoiler. Believe it or not, I only have 2 World Series teams of the
Oh,
3
okay.
on my list. So there you go, number 4.
All right. One of my so the rally enchilada stuff, the rally Zito stuff, of course, that was a lot of fun. And that was when social media was still pretty cool at that point.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. Social media was fun. It was gathering.
Yeah.
It was a place to hang out
Yeah. Great
and
community.
talk during the game, talk sports. It was a blast. Yeah,
I was at game 1 of that World Series as well.
that's right. Yeah,
Got to see Pablo go jack 3
that
times.
was crazy. I remember you have video of one of them, right?
I
I
I
believe
have
you.
video of 1 or 2 of them, but it was
Oh
on
yeah,
like an old school digital camera, so the
it
videos
was on a toaster. You brought your
yeah,
toaster. I
it's
mean, it was
not great. It's not great video.
very pixelated.
All right, my next one is, the 2014 World Series winner.
There you go.
That team, they snuck in. They were a professional baseball team. They knew they just needed a chance and that they could get on a run, and that's exactly what happened, but I wouldn't say that they were even one of the better there are better Giants teams that didn't even make the playoffs than that Giants team, but they just got in, and then they were able to just win games when they needed. It's a Bumgarner series, it's a Bochy series, it's a scratch and claw Brandon Crawford grand slam in the wild card game series, like that kind of stuff where you're just like, I think that's also the Travis Ishikawa home run as
Yeah.
well. And so it's just like Bochy's just like, okay, I have a limited amount of resources here. How can I scramble them together and put them in scenarios where they will actually do well? And he did it. He was able to do it. And of course, it's Bumgarner. Like he was one of the best pitchers that I'd ever seen in my entire life during that playoffs. Just so clutch. Didn't like nothing phased him. We're thinking in game 7 against the Royals, we're like, okay, ha- he can probably go like 1 or 2. And then it's like, was it Peavy or Hudson that started that game 7? It was one of those 2 guys, I think.
Uh, it was Hudson. Hudson in game 7.
And Boch is like, "Yeah, man, if you give me 3, it'll be good." Like,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't pitch
Give
very
me
many
2, give
innings.
me 2, give me anything.
And Bum was just like, "All right, got it from here, y'all." Like, everyone in the dugout, like, you don't even have to warm up, just sit down. Like, we got this. And they got it. They even had that misplay in the outfield late in the game that could have turned into
That
something.
my stomach did not recover from that, even though we got the final out of the World Series. My stomach did not recover from that for a good hour, I think, after that happened.
And then you have, again, this is social media, at its best. I get the tweet from Alex Pavlovich that the game is over a good 15 seconds before it happens on television. And I'm with my kid. I think only one of my kids was with me, and both of my parents. And I'm sitting with this news for a whole 15 seconds before Pablo catches that foul pop and falls to his back. And I told
Which pot
Alex this
yeah.
I
Oh,
told him on air. I was like, and he's like, "Yeah, everyone tells me that story."
and Pablo just said at the Walk of Fame, Wall of Fame ceremony a couple of weeks ago, that was his greatest memory. Not hitting 3 home runs in game 1 of the 2012 World Series, but 2014 catching the final out. That was his favorite baseball memory.
This is a great one. He's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
at the center of some really, really good ones for sure.
That was a hell of a team. You know what? That team was known more for game 7 of the World Series than anything else they did that season.
Mhm.
And that's why that 2014 team did not make my list, is only because it wasn't as memorable from start to finish as some of these other teams. So
All right, what is your number 3?
number 3, 1993. What a summer that was. was, right? What a fantastic summer. Horrible ending. Fantastic summer. The last season of Will Clark as a San Francisco Giant.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds, Matt Williams, and Robbie Thompson all having MVP type seasons. Robbie Thompson, 15th in MVP voting that year.
He started off tremendously, makes the
Oh,
all-star
he was on
team.
fire.
And then I think he got, like, drilled in the head with a fastball by, like, was it Mark Wohlers or somebody? And he just was
Yeah.
not the same for the rest of that season.
I think he still had a 6.3 WAR,
Yeah.
a Gold Glove,
Gold
a
Glove.
Silver Slugger. I mean, just outstanding season. Everybody was on fire that year offensively, pitching wise. And I said at the beginning of the year, I remember telling somebody because I was at Little League. I was an umpire in Little League, and I remember because I'd been around that Little League since I was a kid. So I remember
Mhm.
the managers coming up to me and they're like, "Hey, your Giants are looking good." I said, "If they could just hold on to the pitching,
Yeah.
if the pitching could just hold out all season long, this is a World Series championship team." But as we know, it did not. Bill Swift and John Burkett, they couldn't hold on. They couldn't be the guys all year long. But that pitching staff, Swift, Burkett, Black, Wilson, we won't talk about how it ended, but we'll talk about the good times. We'll talk about the bench. Dave Martinez, Todd Benzinger, Mark Carrion, Mike Benjamin. Those guys were magic too.
That's it,
know?
and that's a really good bench because those guys
That's a
are
great
pros.
bench,
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Martinez started a little bit, Benzinger started a little bit, but they were so much better as bench pieces and guys that you could trust in moments when, your other vet needed a rest. So that is also my number 3 team.
There you go.
And I mentioned that the 2002 team was just, too it's just too hurt. It hurts too much to think about that team.
Mhm.
2 of the other teams that hurt too much are on this list, but it took the pain from those 2 teams to get me to the 2002 and just be like, "Nope, I can't do it anymore." And this was one of those because the Giants lose in the last game of the season to the cruddy Dodgers, and, if they had won, I think they force a one-game playoff against the Braves for the division because it was the year before the wild card, so you actually had to win your division. And you haven't been to the movies all that much lately, but
No.
if you go to an AMC theater, they have this Nicole Kidman commercial for AMC before every single AMC showing. So I've seen this thing probably 100 times now.
Yeah.
And her last line is, "Heartbreak feels good in a place like this."
Oh, no.
And I'm just like, I'm never watching baseball in a place like this because heartbreak will
Yeah.
still hurt in a place like this. But that's
100%.
what that team was, that 93 team. It was just like they were so good all season long. And just to come up so soft in that last game, Solomon Torres, the young kid, just so much responsibility on his shoulders. Barry Bonds had an out of body experience season, his first season with the Giants. I just remember it was almost like every time I turned on a game in the first inning, he hit a home run. I was just like, how does this
Oh,
keep
yeah.
happening?
Yeah. I
So,
was I was at opening day in San Francisco, 1993. The team was just saved too, right? I mean, that
mhm,
was kind of a big deal. The
the
team
other
was
part of that
just
story.
saved from
Yep.
going to Tampa Bay. And so that was huge. And then you had the new bleachers, right? The new metal bleachers in left field. I was up in left field, second deck. And you remember how far left field, center field, second deck in
Yeah.
Candlestick Park was.
Candlestick is a football
Yeah.
stadium more
You
than
you
anything
might
else.
as you might as well have been at Oracle at that point watching the game at Candlestick. I mean, it was so far out there. But I remember it was great. First time and only time I've ever seen the Grateful Dead perform live
Oh,
because
wow.
Jerry Garcia and Bob Weir and one of the other guys sang the national anthem. So it was like, this is fantastic. And then Barry Bonds hits that 3-run jack
Yep.
and does the spin. And I'm like, this guy is going to be fantastic for us. And he goes on to hit 46 home runs. But yeah, that was, God, what a fun season that was.
Yeah, I think in the All-Star game, I think the All-Star game is at Camden Yards, and he doesn't go deep, but he hits like a triple and like 2 singles and 4 ABs or something like that, and, just like, "Yep, this is the year of Barry, wins the MVP," and they just could not get to that next level, and it's there were some people going like, "Oh, he just doesn't have it. He's he can't be on." I was like, "The team won over 100
It's
games."
exactly. And nowadays, that team would be in the playoffs every single year,
Yeah, yeah, for
regardless.
sure.
So,
Alright,
yeah.
what is your number 2?
My number 2, I wrestled with this one. Don't be shocked, but my number 2 is 2010.
Mhm.
The first World Series championship Giants will
My number
always
1.
be yeah. And so close to my number 1, but my number 1 is different.
Okay.
But number 2, 2010 Giants. That will be a season I will always remember from game 1 to the very end. And the fight with the Padres,
Mhm.
the winning the West in the final game of the season.
Mhm.
Um, the playoff battles, Cody Ross coming up huge in Philly, just everything that team did will always be in my heart. As a matter of fact, disappear into the background, but I just picked this up as well. The 8 DVD pack. It's got all of the World Series games. But the main reason I got it was because you get the Giants radio broadcast with it. And when Kruko announced his retirement, I thought I finally got to pick this up. I
Yeah.
think I found it like $20. So I'm going to start spinning these pretty soon, just because I think I'd rather watch these than some
And then the current team. Yeah.
2026 Giants games. I put this on instead. But that team will always be top, not number 1. It is, but very close to number. You could put this as a tie with number 1 with my number 1 team, but the 2010 Giants, it's just you can't put into words what that meant for Giants fans, especially us, our generation, in our 50s now. We persevered through all the weird years. And like you said earlier too, the heartbreak of 2002. For me, it was 2002, but I think it was more so Game 7 against the Cardinals in 1987. That one got me. I was 14 years old. It got me, man.
My dad got
That
I think my dad got mad at me because of how sad I was in that game.
Oh, no.
He was like, "This game is not even close." Like, there's nothing to like, they got smoked in this game.
But
Like, it
did you
should be
tell your
sad.
dad we were up 3 games to 2?
Yes, yes,
We
I was
just
like,
had to
"Game
win
what about
1
game
game.
6?" Yeah. Um, this is my
And
number
we would have beaten the Twins. I stand by that. We would have beaten the Twins. There you go.
Jeffrey Leonard's going 1 flap down like
Yeah,
7
yeah,
times in that series.
yeah.
I had this as number 1, and I think it's because, well, it was really the beginning of the 3, and you had Tim Lincecum still as Tim Lincecum. He didn't have a great year that year. He actually had a pretty inconsistent year. He would come back in 2011 and actually have a really strong year. But in the playoffs, he was Lincecum. You were talking about that season and having those DVDs. I bought game 1 against the Braves. I wanna say he struck out 14, and he's just throwing, like,
Yeah,
splitters and these guys
that's
in the
in here, I
dirt.
believe.
He's just throwing splitters in the dirt, and
Yeah.
these Braves are swinging at all of them. And, like, that version of Lincecum, and then closing out the Rangers in, game 5, I think, and seeing him being at the center of it all and winning the World Series MVP, and, like, that was just like, man, that's of all the people to finally bring a World Series to the Giants, it's this, like, skinny 5'9" dude with long hair who the fans were just saying, "Let Timmy smoke," like that was the calling, that was what they would scream and yell. And it was just like the most unassuming superstar, I think, of my sports lifetime was Tim Lincecum. And I think the way that his career kind of ended too just makes that story of 2010 even sweeter for me because we didn't see, like we wanted him to be the greatest pitcher of all time. You know, we wanted him, but we knew that his body was not holding up for him in the way that he wanted to. But to
Yeah.
me, that season, Brian Wilson, hilarious, the machine, all that stuff, hilarious.
That's
Buster
so good.
Posey. Buster Posey gets called up on my birthday that year. I'm touching down in Vegas. I'm going to a UFC fight, and I get the Twitter notification on my phone. Buster Posey called up. I was like, "Oh, here we go. It's
Amazing.
we're let's go, Buster." And Buster had a great season as a rookie. So all of that stuff is awesome. And you know, I was at many games that season. I don't think I went to no, I did go to a playoff game. I went to one of the Philadelphia games because Barry threw out the first pitch. I think Barry and Willie may have thrown out the first pitch
Oh,
together,
wow.
if I'm remembering that correctly. Where I worked at the time, so in 2008, I worked right across the street from Oracle. I had to park in the parking garage, and then for night games, I had to leave because they're
Oh,
like,
no.
"Nope, you got to move your car because there are actually we're going to be able to make double the money today on our parking." But in by the time of 2010, we had moved a little bit. But my colleagues, they were like, "Do you want to go?" I was like, "Yeah, let's go." So we're a very small company still. There were maybe like 15 of us. So we go over to the CEO and the VP of marketing, and we're like, "Think we're gonna go to this ball game?" And they're like, "Yeah, go for it. We know that you guys are gonna work throughout the night anyway, so you might as well go." And we went, and it was a blast, and they won. And, yeah, that is a really good memory. Okay, what is your
Yeah.
number 1? Now I'm, like, wondering.
Now you're wondering. All right. And this is probably because I'm just a touch older than you. My number one team will always be the 1986 San Francisco
Okay, so that
Giants.
was that they would have probably been 6 or 7 for me, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. They were my number one. And again, I think it's because of our age difference. And I was 13 that summer. I was 12, turning 13 in the middle of the summer. And I'd been following the Giants for a while. My grandparents had season tickets, so I'd gone to some games, started in probably 79, 80, 81, 82, went to all those years. But this was the first season where I was like, this is what a team looks like when they win. And they were fighting for first place midway through the season. I think they even took over first place at one point midway through the season from the Astros. Kept battling, kept battling. We had a couple of rookies of the year, a couple guys named Will Clark and Robbie Thompson. If not for
Mhm.
them, we're not here. I mean, we're not here doing this. This is what it's named after. So I kind of had to go with this team as number one because anytime I think of the Giants and when I started becoming that fan, that guy that was all over this team, it was 1986. They still had Chili Davis and Dan Gladden left over. Those were my guys from when I was younger because I was an outfielder, so I loved watching those guys. Uh, the great Chris Brown made the All
He
Star
made the
team.
last out in the All-Star game that year, grounded into a double play.
He did, yeah,
But
and he hit 317 that season. Couldn't stay healthy, but he
I
hit
think
317.
I think I think there was, like, runners on first and second
Yeah, yeah.
in that game, and my dad looks at me and he goes, he's gonna ground it to double play, right? He's like, "No, this guy's a doubles machine. He's ready." Next pitch, ground ball to shortstop. I was like, "Oh, man," or ground ball to third or whatever. I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
"Man, my
Can't hit
guy."
all-star pitching, but he could hit doubles against the Atlanta Braves of
Mhm.
1986.
I love
Yeah,
that
so that
team. It's
yeah,
it's like that's why I wore number 6. It was because I got to see Robbie Thompson play second base that year, and
yeah,
I was like, "Oh
and
my gosh, like, this is how you do it."
Candy Maldonado. I mean, he was fantastic to watch. I mean, all these guys. We had Melvin, we had Bob Melvin, Bob Brenly, 2 guys that go on to manage, Aldretti on the bench, Joel Youngblood, Randy Kutcher.
Randy
Uh,
Kutcher.
Harry Spillman. I mean, these are, Dan Driesen.
And,
These are guys that
Kruko's 20 gamer, which we talked about as well.
Kruko's 20 gamer. So that's the thing. That's the team that anytime I look back at my fandom and I think, where did it start? It truly, even though I was going to games and I felt the heartbreak of 1985 and the 100 losses, and Disaster Lamaster playing shortstop.
Yeah.
Nothing compares to 1986 when you've got Uribe and Clark and Thompson coming up, and you still have Hackman on the team, and you've got Kruko. That anytime I look back, I go, that was the team. That was where it started.
Clark homering off of Nolan Ryan in the very first game.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure you watched that live because I remember watching
I was
that
in the
live.
living room. Yeah, I remember specifically watching that and going, "Oh, this is the guy everybody's talking about."
So my number 2 was 87 for
Yeah.
many of the same reasons of what you just talked about. And, that 86 team is the reason why the 87 team was so good. They made a couple of moves. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Chris Brown got traded, but we brought in Kevin Mitchell.
It's great.
And they made some really strong moves to get some pitching, Dave Dravecky and Don Robinson. And so they were able to, they said, hey, here's the blueprint, 86. We need to add some vets to this young nucleus, and we're going to be able to win some ball games. 88, I thought they had a really good team too. 89, we could have put that up. I think if the World Series ends a little differently, if they win one game, I probably have a little bit of more love for that team in my heart.
Yeah.
And just the fact that they went down to the dogs to the A's still bothers me.
Yeah.
But that 89 team would have been in my top 10 too, because Clark and
For
Mitchell
sure.
were like rock stars that year because of how well they did. And I think they were like 1-2 in the MVP race and all that stuff. So